Do It All Dad, your podcast, dad-friendly entertainment for you and me. And this is episode 33, Honesty with My Alcoholism. For example, I don't know about you guys, but I had to give up drinking beer altogether, especially during the summer, because I just got embarrassed and humiliated from spending so much time hungover, recycling, living reminders of my lushiness as entire Rocky marathons and AMC passed me by. So I'm at the car wash, and the car wash cashier is wearing a Broncos hat. I said, "Are you a Broncos fan?" He goes, "No, I'm a Pats fan." And I say, "Giselle isn't perfect 10 hot. Giselle is already 80 in model years." Poor Giselle popped out of her mama's golden snatch, only to swoop down onto Tom Brady's cock to live happily ever after. The end. After you've done a podcast called Getting Love from Cancer, you don't mind dropping an occasional cock reference. So I'm at Dick's Sporting Goods. This will not be a cock-infused podcast, I promise. But I'm at the actual Dick's Sporting Goods, and I'm watching the TV, and I see Derek Jeter hit his 3,000th hit on the TV. Obviously, this happened a while back. And at the time, I said, wow. And Jeter went 5 for 5 that day. That's crazier than Jeter's no condom rippage streak. And he got to hit Mariah during her prime boom boom box phase. I'm out camping with my wife's friend. She says to me, "You sound sexually frustrated." And I say, "You would know, considering you tried to bang both of our brothers. Now they're both married. No wonder you see my wife less and less. Hey now, you sound sexually frustrated, Michael." Calm down, babe. You've been married a week. Your hubby will feel like a slut in a straitjacket in no time, Floppy. "You sound sexually frustrated." To be honest, I prefer older Chinese tuggers because, they weren't just yanked off the boat. Hey now, time's infinity. This is a conversation I had with my wife. I wrote a letter to Anne Frank in a blog of mine. In this letter, I made fun of the Trump Nazi hysteria, knowing that Anne Frank knew the real face of evil more than Rachel Maddow. After I shared this with my wife, crickets ensue. And then I'm thinking to myself, babe, your silence is pushing my manhood into a Trump MILF. Memo to all Facebook minion workers. Zitface Zuck is already updating his latest and greatest code samples on GitHub and taking calls from IT recruiters at Robert Half. Reluctantly, obviously. One time my daughter asked, "Daddy, why aren't there any recruiters in Haiti?" And I said, because in Haiti, there are no recruiters to hate, because Robert Half isn't there. I messed up that joke. I feel great about myself, knowing that I completely butchered a joke that 33 episodes in. So I'm going to pat myself on the shoulder for not really letting it affect my flow. So let's keep this going. So my wife, this will be a future blog post of mine on WordPress, and the Do It All Dad Your blog of mine. It's going to be about the fact that my wife hates it when I tell people that only one out of my 3 kids were planned. She always says that. "I hate it when you say that." And my usual response is, "Babe, you act like an unemployed comedian at 31 in Queens. Wanted kids ever." So this is a poem called "My Gerber Baby and Anne Frank." It's a quote by Anne Frank. "Think of all the beauty still left around you. Dear Anne Frank, can you believe Eminem has the balls to call President Trump Hitler? Last time I checked, before becoming president, Trump lifted the ban on Jewish membership at Mar-a-Lago. Slim on fact, shady. My daughter is only 7, and so she doesn't know about your beautiful soul yet. She knows about the Holocaust and real Nazis, but not about your famous diary, which spoke of such expressive, live beauty, beyond your years, obviously. Now my daughter Matilda, aka Singin' Rose, wears a sterling silver star David necklace from Israel, as opposed to the pre-K arts and crafts yellow floppy star required of all Jews during Nazi occupation. Obviously, you don't need the painful historical rehash. My only point, Anne is beautiful, smart, super funny Jewish girls, like my daughter, no longer must hide in the closet out of fear of being shipped off to Nazi death camps. I would say that's a sign of progress. Can we all agree? Can I get an amen? I said amen! Therefore, and I get so infuriated when all the poser, disgraceful, so-called Jewish intellectuals in my hometown of New York go out of their way to accuse President Trump of being Hitler, knowing your cruel twist of fate at the hands of a real monster who almost led a bunch of Nazis to conquer all of Europe on crystal meth on an empty stomach. Trump is Hitler. You hear this a lot these days, and if you could believe it, Trump is Hitler. And what? Inglourious Bastards too? No, in real life. You'd think Trump's campaign slogan was, "Make Nazi Germany Great Again." I hate gun control absolutionists, meaning, what I mean by that, Ann, is I hate these people that just want to ban guns altogether, knowing that your life could have been spared if Hitler didn't ban guns in Germany before unleashing hell on earth, because he was a failed artist with a small dick who got herpes from a Jewish prostitute, which flared up his desire to annihilate. And I love your old soul because it reminds me of my latest addition to our family, the Kornbluth family, Samuel Teddy Kornbluth, a.k.a. Bam Bam Gigolo, a.k.a. Gorilla Grip, a.k.a. Chosen Curls. Chosen Curls and I, we go out plenty to the local farm harvest moon for donuts and to the coffee shop, so I get some espresso. And everywhere we go, my son Samuel gets bombarded with compliments, such as, he's gorgeous. People tell me, you're so blessed. Your baby looks like the Gerber baby, with no touch-up work required. Pretty sure the Gerber baby product line of baby food wasn't around when you were, Ann. But so just to clarify, so you understand what the hell I'm talking about, the Gerber baby, and understand the original title of this piece was going to be called My Blessed Gerber Baby. But then I started writing a letter to you. So God does work in mysterious ways. But the Gerber baby is a charcoal sketch of a girl baby plastered in a line of baby food made for modern female homemakers, which means my son won't struggle to find an attractive date for prom in this lifetime. All these compliments about my blessed Gerber baby got me thinking about the specialness of true beauty and what it means for natural-born beauty to cause such a stir. Great Barrier Reef, Grand Canyon, other examples which come to mind, which envelop my soul with such endless, heart-reverberating wonder. I love you, Anne Frank. I love your guardian angel gaze over my daughter, Matilda Rose Kornbluth. I can feel it now bursting through me. She's a lioness who reads emotions the way you did. You would have been best friends with my daughter, Matilda, back in the day. No doubt about it. And she would have loved to play make-believe or sing songs or write poetry with you in your parents' beautiful apartment in Amsterdam. It's a museum now, as I'm sure you know. My first impression when visiting was, this place is enormous. I've never seen so much closet space. I expected a cubby, not a walk-in closet. Love you forever, Anne Frank. As long as I'm breathing, I refuse to let the real Nazi scum in this world get the last laugh. Love always, Michael Joshua Kornbluth. I preached it before on this podcast, and I'll preach it again, especially for Jews who tend to engage in intellectual combat more so than putting up their dukes, mainly because a bunch of Irish and Italian kids had much more experience beating the shit out of each other growing up. So they have more of a tolerance for pain, and they also have a better propensity for fighting because they've just had more exposure to it. Then again, some of the greatest boxers ever have been Jewish. I don't want to portray my people as being pussies all the way down the line. Bugsy Siegel was arguably, the toughest gangster of all time. and he had a reputation as being the bruiser number one down in the Bowery and the Lower East Side back in the day. But I wanted to share that, and that's how I've always felt about comedy, that it does give me an opportunity to keep fighting and get the last laugh. So that was for you, Anne. There's another poem for you, Anne. It's called Get Off Mama Welfare Dada. That sounds confusing. Let's go with the original title. Time to get off Time to get off welfare already, Dada. But that doesn't capture what I'm talking about. I'm like on welfare. This is a poem, Anne, about breaking free from being dependent on my wife because I'm a stay-at-home dad over here. Yet my father hates that expression, stay-at-home dad. He's much more old school. He prefers shelter bum. So here we go. This is written in the voice of my daughter. Get off mama welfare, Dada. Here we go. Dada, get a job in the big city already. Just like baby Samuel, you were rock star ready. I went to visit you at work and have you show me off to the office jerk. Once you get a job, do it all daddy will be complete. Assuming you dunk out by the end of August, which will be super sick neat. With GDP growth at 4%, something is bound to pop. I can't believe every HR manager in the big city is a Trump-hating snot. Deep down, I know you're tired of working for free, and it stripped the fun out of your relationship with mama. This much Andrea Bocelli can say. On the train to work, you can write the short story for Loud Man's Disease. When it gets published, can we see Lady Gaga front row of the garden? Pretty please. Don't get me wrong, Dada. I cherish having you at home. But you need the big city lights and laughs at Caroline's on Broadway to really get into the zone. My love for you is secure for you no matter what. But I know it pains you to take up so much grief from mama up the butt. She hasn't even listened to any of your podcasts yet. Neither have I, but I'm only 7. Plus, I still believe you making it big in talk radio is a no-brainer bet. And what I meant by that is I've listened to the entirety of one of your podcasts. No offense, my imagination's more active and interesting than yours. Of course, baby Samuel will miss you so much. At the same time, I know getting paid to write again will prove to him you're clutch. Then again, writing for Bitcoin.com from home would be sweet. With your first paycheck of digital gold, can you get me some Egyptian pink satin sheets? I know my brother Arthur wants you to work from home some more, but I'm not going anywhere, and we all know I'm no bore. Time to get off welfare, Dada, and be the man again, like you were as the head writer for VH1 Classic. Keep on punching, Daddy, my very own Mr. Fantastic. And now, to wrap things up here, folks, we're going to go with the title of this podcast, Honesty with My Alcoholism. So what's it like being a stay-at-home dad? Drinking alone is no longer an issue. Moving forward, in honor of the late Anthony Bourdain, I plan on only drinking my cherished IPAs and 3-sipper watermelon beers from afar, away from my 3 kids in some fancy big city bar. At least then, I can feel like a married slut in a straitjacket who didn't dress up for a date with himself at home whenever the wife starts her week shift at the hospital again. Not every line rhymes, obviously. The last time I had a bottle of Kentucky bourbon in the house was 17 months ago, after our baby Samuel was born. I savored every drop, so there's no reason to mourn. I learned after my first kid was born how even a double tumbler of Angel's Envy bourbon a night can wreak havoc on your complexion. Like Hillary Hammer Time Cankles from boozing harder than ever after losing the election. Was drinking 5 Captain Lawrence Pale Ales last Thursday night a big mistake? No. Besides, last week was skin cancer binge week, so I was more than conscious of my lush-driven intake. Yes, I love porters, IPAs, and double imperial reds. If I had to choose, I'd give up bread. Now I'm a father of 3, so passing out on the couch is no longer an acceptable look. Only a 6-figure talk show radio job host in the big city will get me off that hook. Wine after the first glass, even a rosé from Provence, loses its soulful lift, disintegrating into mere ordinary refillage, which feels like less of a gift. The variety of American tropical brews has never been greater, and it's summertime, so it's hard to break away from a first love I've been smitten with for more than 20 years altogether. But if I'm going to dunk by the end of the summer, I can't drink beer one night and take off the next. Nothing would be dumber. Take a month off from beer and see how you feel when you dunk with added lightness in front of your kids with extra big deal zeal. And that's what I plan on doing, folks. Can't wait to share my poem about that moment. And at that point, I could say to my father that I'm no longer an official waste of height. This is the Do It All Dad Year podcast, dad-friendly entertainment for you and me, controlling our kids through comedy. Can make our kids great again, and I'll talk to you soon.